situation I don't think anyone expected. Baltimore fell to 1-5 when their second game without Lamar Jackson didn't go any better than their first. They scored only 3 points in a losing effort against the Rams after mustering up just 10 points a week earlier. Head coach John Harbaugh is counting on Lamar's return to turn things around.
Psychologically, how much am I leaning into Lamar coming back and playing? Yeah, I'd have to. If I was on the couch with a psychiatrist right now, and if I was spilling it, I would have to say I'm leaning really hard into that. Really hard, yeah. For any kind of psychological well-being, spiritual well-being, I'm leaning hard on that happening. So I'm very hopeful that happens.
Again with an obvious statement from a head coach. Obviously, his entire offense is based on one person, and so his one person is going to finally come back from injury after they've looked horrific. But it wasn't just a Lamar Jackson thing when all this went down with the Ravens. They only have one win on the season. We've talked about how bad their defense has been, and so now we go to the head coach. Has all this been a problem with John Harbaugh?
Yeah, I think it's time with John Harbaugh, and I have full respect for John Harbaugh. I played for him for 3 years. At the end of my career, I think he's one of the finest head coaches in the National Football League. But that doesn't mean that things haven't run their course in Baltimore. You have a future Hall of Fame quarterback in Lamar Jackson in the heart of his prime. The objective should be every single season to win a championship. And it should be inexcusable the fact that John Harbaugh, over the last decade, has only 3 playoff wins. And at no point during that span has he won multiple playoff games in the same postseason. How long are you supposed to wait around for John Harbaugh to figure it out with Lamar Jackson? Because right now, at 1-5, their season is over. They have a 1% chance at being able to make the postseason. Since the beginning of the NFL, there have only been 4 teams to start 1-5 and make the postseason. And none of them won playoff games, the ones that did get into the tournament. So if you're looking at the Baltimore Ravens, it feels like a lost season already in week 6. And if that's the case, if this team doesn't have a dramatic turnaround, then you have to start asking the tough question of whether or not the Baltimore Ravens could benefit from a different voice on the sideline.
It would have to be a drastic turnaround, right? Like they'd really have to go the other direction and basically run the table. Drew Brees, do you agree with Chris Canty? Maybe it is time to move on with the head coach.
No, I think this goes a little bit to the conversation around, the disservice to these young quarterbacks and getting rid of some of these coaches. Now, look, I know that Harbaugh has been, he's one of the most tenured coaches in the league. I don't know if there's a guy who garners as much respect as him. Maybe Mike Tomlin, as far as their tenure and their accomplishments. To me, John Harbaugh is a culture builder. And I don't know, as I look at the last, his 18 years that I think he's been in Baltimore, like of all the teams in the league any given year, that was a team that has always had an identity, a very clear identity, that we are going to play smash mouth football. We play in that type of a division. That's the tone that we're going to set. We are going to run the football. We're going to play this highly aggressive style of defense that is high risk reward. It's been a lot of reward in the past. Yeah. Unfortunately, this year it's been a lot of risk, and they haven't played well. And look, I think it's pretty unprecedented. I don't know if we've ever seen a Ravens defense play this bad, give up this many yards, this many points. But at the same time, I think the real problem they have is that whenever Lamar Jackson gets hurt, they have a hard time winning football games. This offense is so geared around his skill set, what he does with his own legs, but how just the threat of him back there opens up the run game for others. I just looked at his pass statistics. Like he is as efficient right now as maybe he's ever been. So you got to either keep him healthy or you have to find somebody who could come in and win you some games when he's not, because he's not getting any younger.
I would say no chance I'm getting rid of John Harbaugh. No, not even thinking about it. Let me say it this way. When you think about, and I appreciate what you said about the Super Bowls and that kind of thing. And this goes with Harbaugh, this goes with Tomlin. But I was part of a team, Drew was a part of a team, right, with Hall of Fame quarterbacks where we went to 2 Super Bowls, we won 1, we lose 1. He goes, and people are like, oh, you should have won more. The problem was I ran into Tom Brady and Bill Belichick at the same time. I ran into Drew Brees and Sean Payton at the same time. He's running into Andy Reid and Patrick Mahomes. Just kind of bad timing, bro. It's not that they're not good. They run into the Bills and Sean McDermott with Josh. Like this is not an excuse. These are legitimate reasons, right? You run into really good teams. So the expectations that you're always, he has given his team a chance to win almost every year. Last year, same thing, right? You play the Bills, frozen game, all that kind of thing. You turn it over. I get it, but you have a chance, can't you? Like, you go and blow this thing up. I get this year, and this year might be a wash. Maybe they don't make the playoffs. It's a bummer. It's a bad year. It's whatever. Mm-hmm. But he has shown you year in and year out, he is going to put his team in a position to win. From a coaching perspective, if I'm a fan, that's what I want. Give me a chance. Give me a puncher's chance. Don't let me be. And the Ravens have given you a chance for dang near 18 years. I don't think you just forget. And to your point, you got a bump in the road. This is a bad year. Maybe you got to make a change at defense. I don't know, but figure that thing out. But man, don't get rid of a guy who's brought so much stability and so much winning to an organization.
Wow. I get you, Jeff. And I'm not going to say I disagree with you because I would be highly reluctant to get rid of John Harbaugh. But I do think there comes a moment in time where you got to look yourself in the mirror. You got the worst scoring defense in the league. How'd that happen? This is the Ravens we're talking about.
Agree, yeah.
You understand? I haven't even spoken to my brother Ray Lewis in a while. I can only imagine what kind of mood he's in. Ed Reed and the boys, I just saw them at the game in Miami a few weeks ago. You can't believe what's happening here. Last year, the Ravens were the #1 defense against the run. They were 31st against the pass.
Yeah.
How'd that happen? At some point in time, it's like, and I've often said this, Drew, just know this too about me, covering sports. One of the reasons I would be hard on coaches, in a sense, was only for one reason and one reason only. The players got to come there with their jobs on the line every day.
No
Who
doubt.
told you that you get to be comfortable and automatically, you get to live off of what you did years ago? Players don't get to do that most of the time. I mean, especially in the NFL, you could be all world. You could be a running back that was all world. Contract time comes up, they send up their counting the amount of rushes, rushing attempts you had, and say, well, your birth certificate collected a little bit more dust. We ain't giving you that money. You could be a quarterback, all right? And then all of a sudden, after an elite year last year, this year, well, you know what? I mean, this guy looked real good in preseason. We don't know about you right now. Plus, you cost too much. So guess what? We've got to make some alterations there. If you have to make these decisions about the players, this is the league, right? It's the NFL. It's 32 jobs. There's 32 head coaching jobs. You know how many people starving for a chance to be in John Harbaugh's position? You know how many people sitting there looking at it saying, man, if I had Lamar Jackson, if I had Derrick Henry, if I had Zay Flowers, if I had Andrews, if I had these cats, could you imagine what I would do? That don't make them right.
Right.
But we live in a society where we're talking about opportunities. And we're talking about, well, this person deserves an opportunity, so to hell with what the player did, but we want to hold on to the coaches and insulate them by giving them job security and stuff like that. I'm not saying you get rid of John Harbaugh. What I am saying is the Ravens do not resemble who they used to. They're not living up to what has been established before Harbaugh was there and since he's been there. And guess what? It does require for some self-reflection, not just by himself, but management looking at him and saying, yo, you do understand you're not getting the job done right now. You're not meeting our expectations.
Yeah.
We can let that go right now.
Yeah.
There's but so much longer. We're going to tolerate that.
The reality is this. They just gave him a contract extension last year, so he's not going anywhere.
Right.
But we do have to ask the critical question, how many times are the Baltimore Ravens going to keep doing the same thing and get the same result? Stephen A., there has been no progression.